The rain had started around 7 that evening, the kind of steady drumming that makes you want to curl the kind of steady drumming that makes you want to curl up with a book and forget the world exists. I was doing exactly that, sprawled on my warm leather couch with a mystery novel and a glass of bourbon, when the knock came. 3 sharp raps. Official. Insistent. I wasn't expecting anyone. My life had become beautiful, predictable in the 2 years since the divorce. Work, gym, occasional drinks with Tom from accounting, and these quiet evenings that I did come to treasure. No drama, no surprises, no Catherine. Through the peep Through the peephole, I saw 2 figures in dark raincoats. The taller one held up a badge. My stomach dropped. Mr. Harrison, Detective Mike Sullivan, and this is Detective Patricia Reeves. We need to ask you some questions about your ex-wife, Catherine Harrison. I hadn't heard I had not heard her name spoken aloud in months. I did work hard to scrub it from my daily vocabulary, from my thoughts. Now here it is, delivered by strangers on my doorstep like a delivered by strangers on my doorstep. Delivered by strangers on my doorstep like a nightmare from the past. I opened the door, trying to keep my expressions neutral. What's this about? May we come in? Detective Sullivan was built like a retired linebacker, with tired eyes that had seen too much. His partner was smaller, sharper, with the kind of gas that probably caught every lie before it fully formed. I stepped aside. The track rained across my hardwood floors, and I found myself irrationally annoying about it, as if wet footprints were my biggest problem right now. When's the last time you had contact with Catherine Harrison? Reeves pulled out a small notebook. 2 years ago, almost exactly, the day our divorce was finalized. I sat down heavily, gesturing for them to do the same. We haven't spoken since. What's going on? Sullivan exchanged a glance with his partner. Mrs. Harrison has been reported missing. It's been 4 days. Her current boyfriend filed the report. Current boyfriend? Of course there was a current boyfriend. There has been one during our marriage too. His name was Bryce Kellerman, and he was the reason Catherine and I weren't married anymore. The image of finding those text messages on her phone, the confrontation, her tears that felt more like frustration at being caught than actual remorse. It all came flooding back. I'm sorry to hear that, I said carefully, but I don't understand why this has to do anything with me. We have been divorced for 2 years. Before that, we were separated for 6 months. I haven't seen or spoken to her since the courthouse. I haven't seen or spoken to her since the courthouse. We're talking to everyone in Mrs. Harrison's past, Reeves said smoothly. Standard procedure. But your name came up in some materials that we found in her apartment. Recent materials. That got my attention. What kind of materials? We're not at liberty to discuss details of an ongoing investigation, Sullivan said, but we need to establish your whereabouts for the past week. I felt a flash of anger cut through my confusion. You think I have something to do with this? With whatever happened to her? We're not accusing you of anything, Mr. Harrison. We're gathering information. Reeves leaned forward slightly. So your whereabouts. I pulled out my phone, opened my calendar. I've been at work Monday through Friday. I'm a senior project manager at Bridgewater Analytics. You can verify that with my boss, Linda Freeman. After work, I went to the gym Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Tuesday, I had dinner with a friend, Tom Pacheco. Thursday, I was here all evening. This weekend, I drove up to see my brother in Portland. Got back Sunday night around 10. You live alone? Sullivan was looking around my apartment, taking in the taking in the bachelor minimalism of it all. Yeah, for 2 years now. No current relationship? Not at the moment. There's been a few dates here and there, nothing serious. I wasn't ready. Maybe I did never be ready. Catherine had done a number on me that went deeper than I like to admit. Reeves made notes. Tell us about your marriage. How did it end? I took a breath, hating that I had to revisit this. Catherine had an affair. I found out about it around 2.5 years ago. She was sleeping with a colleague, Bryce Kellerman. They worked together at Morrison Financial. I confronted her. She admitted it. Said she did fallen out of love with me. We tried counseling for about 2 months, but her heart wasn't in it. She moved out. We filed for divorce. It was finalized 2 years ago this month. How did you feel about the affair? Sullivan's tone was deceptively casual. How do you think I felt? I was devastated, angry, humiliated. I met his eyes, but I didn't hurt her, if that's what you're trying to imply. I never threatened her, never contacted her after the divorce. I moved on. Did you? Reeves asked quietly. The questioning hung in the air. Had I moved on? Did I build a new routine? For sure, I did. But I did stop crying myself to sleep. I stopped checking her social media after I blocked her on everything. I did stop driving past our old house just to torture myself, but moved on. Sometimes I still woke up reaching for her, forgetting for one cruel moment that she was gone. I'm working on it, I said finally. Every day I'm working on it. Sullivan nodded, something almost sympathetic crossing his face. Did Catherine ever mention being involved in anything illegal? Financial frauds at a job? Gambling debts? Drug use? I blinked. What? No. She was ambitious, driven, worked long hours. But drugs, gambling, that wasn't her. People hide things, Reeves said. You said she had an affair. You didn't know about that until you found the messages. She had a point. What exactly are you suggesting Catherine was involved in? We're not suggesting anything yet, Sullivan said. We're trying to build a picture. They asked me more questions about Catherine's friends, her family, her habits. I answered as best as I could, but the truth was I didn't know a version of her new self. The woman I married, who I thought I had spent The woman I married, who I thought I spent my life with, had turned out to be someone else entirely. After about 40 minutes, the detectives finally stood to leave. If you think of anything at all, that might help, give us a call. Sullivan handed me a card. And Mr. Harrison, don't leave town for the next few weeks. We may have more questions. After they left, I sat in silence of my apartment, their wet footprints slowly drying on my floor. I was trying to process what had just happened. Catherine was missing. My name had come up in her apartment. Recent materials. They said things that I did not understand. What the hell did that mean? I couldn't help myself thinking. I pulled out my laptop and started searching. Catherine Harrison missing. Brought up nothing. Too soon for news coverage. Way too soon for news coverage, probably. I tried her name with Morrison Financial and found her LinkedIn profile, still active, still listing her as a senior financial analyst. Then I started remembering small things, weird things, things I would push aside during the marriage because I trusted her and because I had seen too busy, because I had been too busy, or because I had not wanted to see what was right in front of me. The time she came home with $10,000 in cash, claiming it was a bonus from work. But when I suggested depositing it, she got angry, said she wanted to keep it liquid for an investment opportunity. I never saw that money again. The phone calls she did take in the next room, speaking in low, urgent tones. I assumed it was Bryce, her affair partner. But what if it wasn't? The weekend she had been gone to a conference in Las Vegas. But when I looked up the conference later, just out of curiosity, I couldn't find any record of it having been taken place. The locked filing cabinet she kept in her room office. When I asked about it once, she had snapped that it was confidential work documents and I needed to respect her privacy. Jesus, how blind had I been? I grabbed my phone and nearly called the number on someone's card, then stopped myself. What would I even say? That my ex wife had been kind of secretive? That she had been saving on cash? They did think that I was reaching, trying to deflect suspicion, or worse, they did think I knew more than I was saying. I poured myself another bourbon, heavier this time, and tried to think. The affair with Bryce, what if that had been a cover up for something else? What if she's been using their relationship as an excuse for her absence, her secrecy? I had been so focused on the betrayal, on the emotional devastation of her cheating, that I did never question the larger picture. The rain kept falling outside. I pulled out a box from my closet. The one box of our marriage I kept. I kept all the things I couldn't just throw away from our marriage. Photos mostly, our wedding album, a few cards she did written me early in our relationship, when things were still good. Beneath those, I found something I did forgotten about, a small leather-bound journal. Catherine had left it behind when she moved out, stuffed it in the back of a drawer. I glanced through it once, but it had been mostly empty. Just a few mundane entries about work meetings and grocery lists. I did toss it in the box and forgotten about it. Now I opened it again, looking more carefully. Most of the pages were indeed blank or boring, but near the back I found a page of numbers, account numbers maybe. There were long strings of digits with what looked like routine codes. Next to them were amounts: $45,000, $78,000, $120,000, and names, abbreviated, cryptic, BK, MT, RS, JC. My hands started shaking. This was it. This was what the police were looking for. Evidence of what? Embezzlement? Money laundering? I wasn't I wasn't a financial crimes expert, but this looked bad, really bad. BK could be Bryce Kellerman. Were the others in on it? Or were the victims? I should call the detectives right now. Hand this over, distance myself from whatever Catherine had been involved in. But something stopped me. If I gave them this, I did be reopening the past completely. There will be more questions, more investigations. They will dig up through our marriage, our finances, everything. My name would be attached to whatever scandal this turned into. Even if I was innocent, and I had to be, the association would follow me at work, in my personal life. The peaceful existence I had carefully constructed would shatter. And for what? Catherine had made her choices. She betrayed me and left me and moved on. She had gotten involved in some criminal activity, apparently long before our marriage ended. How much of our entire relationship had been a lie? I looked at my phone. One call, and I did be free of this burden. I did hand it to the professionals and let them sort it out, or I could burn the journal. Forget tonight had ever happened. Let Catherine's secrets die with her, if she was dead. I did told the detectives everything I knew, which was nothing really. This journal didn't change my story. I could walk away clean. I stood up and paced my apartment, the journal clutched in my hand. Through the window, I could see the city lights blurred by rain. Out there somewhere, Catherine was either hiding or hurt or dead. People who loved her, her parents, her sisters, even that boyfriend of hers, were worried sick, and I was holding evidence that might help find her. But I was also holding evidence that might destroy the life I did spend 2 years rebuilding. The rain drummed against the glass. The bourbon burned in my throat. The journal felt heavy as a weapon in my hands. Detective Sullivan's card sat on my coffee table, waiting. I picked up my phone, the decision crystallizing even as my finger hovered over the screen. Because here's what I did learn in 2 years of solitude and healing. You can't build something real on a foundation of lies and omissions.